that has a meter. The city needs to budget operations based on tax revenue and fees, including those from utilities, but the revenue from each utility bill should be solely used to maintain, expand, and provide reserves for the utilities. The EUB allows the city, thus the citizens, to reap the benefits of owning utility, less overhead rates, flexibility regarding the franchise fee, intergovernmental transfers, reducing the city's expense burden, keeping jobs in the city, and clearing the council's plate of numerous electrical decisions while adding no real negative impact. Approving the ordinance tonight will hamper the director's ability to operate the utility efficiently and frugally, and at very least cause decisions to be made regarding service and system reliability, maintenance, upgrades, and rates to be considered with a this or that mentality by the city admin, causing a loss in transparency of what electric revenues actually go to and for what. Accountability won't change. Recommendations from the board will now be delayed to implementation. The council will have more work to do, and issues regarding the budget won't go away. The board will still make recommendations regarding the budget, thus creating a budget as is done now. Otherwise, why even have the board? The Planning Commission doesn't have to make decisions regarding $15 million in revenues. They don't have to set a rate for a utility. They don't have to look at a 5-year budget to determine capital outlay projections. The EUB does, and unless you want all electric knowledge regarding operations to be thrown out the window, you'll want the board to continue to do the same things they do now. Thus, an advisory board only adds complexity to the system by requiring a rubber stamp by the council. If the council wants electric revenues for other projects, increase the franchise fee. If the council wants power over decisions to make electric the same as water, don't even have a board. Don't pull the wool over the citizens' eyes and say an advisory board's benefits are anywhere near the current boards. The council has yet to inform the public of why an advisory board is the true best format. If the council will accept a vast majority of the advisory board's recommendations, why have that rubber stamp? Recommendations won't be as clean as Planning Commission recommendations. They have rules and regulations that a request must comply to, and if it doesn't or does, the majority of the recommendation then goes to the council with that information. The EUB will have much more involved recommendations, and if the council is going to trust the board's diligence for a recommendation, why not trust the board to execute the same recommendation as it has for the past 5 years? It appears electric is already being overlooked, as I didn't see or hear any mentions of GE's maintenance or improvements in the capital improvement program work session details. Lee Moore, a newly appointed member of the EUB, spoke to you as how the board shouldn't be solely advisory. You appointed him, most likely knowing his stance. Thus, citizens that want to get involved are stating they want to fight for a semi-autonomous board. As the vice chairman of the EUB, I'm making several recommendations to the council tonight. Do not make the EUB an advisory board, but work with the electric director and EUB to craft a revised ordinance that will benefit the citizens. This situation needs resolved soon, but doesn't have to be completed tomorrow. Add an ex officio member of the council to the board to increase awareness for both groups. Have the electric director as a sitting member of the council roundtable. Merge the salary schedules. Encourage the city admin to involve the electric director in director meetings. He's a director, and synergy only comes from working together. Encourage the city finance director to work closely with the electric director and the EUB on the budget so that she will be knowledgeable on it. Have the EUB chairman and electric director provide a presentation for council during budget time. Encourage the city attorney to list the specific statutes the EUB is currently in violation of so they can be addressed by the EUB. Home rule can be utilized to strengthen any potential statute concerns. And finally, reserve the only source of revenue from the electric utility as the franchise fee, not including shared services electric already pays for. Electric shouldn't subsidize any other part of government. The franchise fee goes into the general fund and can be utilized by the city as it deems fit. Please make a decision that is indifferent to who is on the board, who is on council, and who is on city staff. Long-term implications are at stake, and no rushed action or implementation that sort of helps X but doesn't address Y will help this city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Anyone else wanting to make public comment about new business item number 2? Remembering that this is a well-discussed topic, is there anybody that would like to make a comment or ask a question or look for clarification that has not currently been provided recently?
I have a few questions, and they're specific to the ordinance itself. So,
the revised ordinance?
The revised, yeah, absolutely. Looking at what we're voting on this evening.
Okay.
The first one, and actually it's a suggestion, Mark had tonight the same thing, but we were talking about Section 2, Item A, the number of board members. one of the things that we identified through the process was, or at least has been mentioned several times, is communication deficiencies, things that can be improved upon. I like the idea of maybe having a ex officio member of the council serve on the EUB so that communication gap is shortened rather than widened. And obviously that's not mentioned within the ordinance at all, so I don't know if that's something that we could consider or if there's consensus to consider it, but that's something I wanted to bring up this evening. And I mean, we could go, I don't know how you'd like to do it, Mr. Mayor, but I have several questions specific to how the ordinance is written that I'd like clarification on.
If you've got, let's just go down the list.
Go through them? Perfect. On item B, one question we have that if we pass this evening is what would happen to the existing board? Would we have to start from scratch? Could we amend this to state that current members of the UB will serve out the remaining terms? Because I'm not interested in rebuilding anything as far as the board itself goes. We'd lose any momentum that we possess in that.
Is that easy enough to?
Sure. And the reason I didn't change that is because, I mean, that's the old language, and so it was to keep uniformity so that I do recognize that it's kind of taken in a snapshot, but it was not intended that people would be kicked off.
Well, and I don't think it was intended. I don't know that it's clearly stated eitherwise, so I don't know if we would, in essence, have to do that by passing.
And I've spoke to individual EUB members, asked them that regardless of which way the vote goes, that I would like for them to continue to serve. And Lee Moore volunteered for the position knowing that he may not be serving on an independent board, but vowed to serve as well. But would that be something that if we stipulated it during the motion that we could make the change, or we wouldn't have to go back and revise and then bring it back another meeting?
I don't think so. I mean, that was not the intent of the language.
Perfect. The other one I had, let's see, we're still in section 2, item G with the meetings, and it's just the way that it's worded. The third, it says all meetings of the board. My only concern, and all meetings of the board, I guess, for if you don't have it, have to, let's see, all meetings of the board shall be held on days and at times approved by the city council of the city. And such meetings shall not conflict with scheduled meeting dates at times of the city council or planning commission, and such meetings shall be held in city council chambers. There's a couple concerns. Between planning commission, city council, municipal court, we're running out of opportunities to have the city council chambers open for meetings. And I understand the intent here and that with the open meetings and recording of the meetings, but I'm afraid that we're going to limit those resources a little bit because of all the other nights that we have something here. The other thing, the way that it's worded to mention that all times and dates have to be approved by the city council, it seems redundant in the instance of whether a time needs to change, whether that's due to a holiday. Are we going to have to vote to say, well, we're going to have a meeting on Tuesday because Monday is Martin Luther King Day? Or we need to schedule a special meeting for emergency that's come up. Does that have to come to council to be voted on?
Currently, yes, it would.
It would have to be.
Right.
And I just don't seem that I don't know that we can operate efficiently in that matter. We're going to have to put off things, or we're just going to have a lot of schedule conflicts that come up. So I wanted clarification on that, and then that was just one of my concerns. Some of these I may be on island, and I'm not sure, but I don't know if we could even change the wording just to include some sort of disclaimer that talks about with consideration for special circumstances and a way to accommodate when they simply can't find the time to schedule a meeting in Chamber Hall.
You know, council members meet first and third Mondays.
Okay.
I mean, just period, end of story.
Okay. When's planning commission meetings? And those are in City Hall.
Those are third Tuesday?
When's the Board of Zoning Appeals?
As needed basis,
And so those municipal court nights. I mean, those are, how many nights a week do we actually have somewhere? How many nights a month are City Council Hall, or the Chamber Halls taken up?
I don't think that that there's so much that we couldn't hold to planning commission meetings.
Okay.
I can't imagine.
Only concern. And then, like I said, the other way it's written is if there has to be a special accommodation made, whether it's because of the holidays or anything else, that has to come in front of the council. It's a level of micromanagement I don't think we need to have.
You know, I've been to, have you been to any of the electric utilities?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I've been to some. If they're going to not hold a meeting because lack of quorum, not enough agenda items, or a upcoming holiday, I mean, they vote on all those at the meeting prior. My guess is one agenda
Minimal,
item that
not to
wouldn't
worry
be
about.
hard
Fair enough.
to move using a city council schedule.